My name is Taylor Rose, and welcome back to my channel where we talk about everything reading and writing. Today, we're going to talk about some fresh off the press book community drama. Today's topic is centered around PR boxes. If you don't know what a PR box is, it stands for Public Relations Box, and it is a way for companies to send out their product, their merchandise, in order to get some conversation going about whatever they're selling, whether it's makeup, clothing, or in this case, a book. As a disclaimer, I am responding to publicly available screenshots from social media. Everything in this video is just my opinion. You can take it or leave it. Generally speaking, there is no requirement for someone to actually respond to a PR box. If you follow any large creators, particularly makeup influencers, they receive tons of PR that they never mention or they just mention in passing. For example, I follow Robert Welsh. He will frequently in videos say, oh yes, I received this product as PR, but I'm not interested in trying it, so it's going in my giveaway box. Or he will make a review, either positive or negative. He might use it in video, he might not use it in video. It is pretty much a gift. It's a gift from a company to a creator, an influencer of some sort. So, color the book community surprised when Libra book libraries came onto Threads with kind of a strange situation. She posted a screenshot from a PR company from whom she had received a box. Libra asks, hey, is this normal? This is my first PR box and I'm unsure about this clause about paying to send the PR box back to author if I rate it low, 3.5 or DNF. If I rate it 4 out of 5, I get to keep the PR box. Is this normal? All advice welcomed and appreciated. So the PR company told her, I want to give you all a reminder of how much sending PR boxes costs the indie authors. The amount of time, money, and energy that goes into the whole process is a lot. I also want to note for my US babes, this author's in the UK, so shipping to the US is even more of a cost. If you DNF or would give this a low rating, you will be responsible for all shipping costs associated with sending the box back to the author, or company name here. So, right off the bat, this is pretty strange. You know, like I said, PR boxes are a gift. There are legal regulations surrounding them. There should be no financial penalty. So other Threads users immediately jump in, telling her, no, this is not normal. Rachel Bateman Books, that's a big fat no. They are not only missing the point of PR boxes entirely, but are dealing in serious review manipulation by trying to attach a monetary punishment if you don't rate highly. This is super duper not okay. And Libra responds, I thought it was manipulation to say at 3.5 is low, and anything lower than that means I have to pay out of pocket to ship the PR backs internationally, which is icky. Mysteries Booksnooks chimes in, gross and not at all acceptable. You're kinder than me because I'd be naming and shaming. Charging people for a negative review, a new audacity. I understand wanting positive reviews, but to essentially threaten people into giving you a positive review is an interesting choice. Pokegirl Pink says, this is a huge red flag. I would stay clear. PR is a business risk. It's sent without expectations to even share it, but with hopes to, let alone adding in policing the review rating and threatening shipping costs. Stay away. So Libra says they will definitely be unfollowing this PR company. Mystic Forest Crafts also agrees. Not normal, not right, and probably not something legally enforceable. A 3.5 rating isn't a bad rating at all. Even a 2-star rating can be good for an author if you explain why, because what didn't work for you might be exactly what other readers are looking for in their next read. Reads with Rachel's literally just posted a video talking about the rhetoric surrounding negative reviews and how many people really disagree with posting any sort of negative review on the internet. But one of the points she made in her video, and I do recommend you go watch it yourself. I really enjoy Rachel's videos in general. I think she's good at explaining the sides of a situation you wouldn't have considered before. But anyways, she had asked her followers about kind of what they think of negative reviews, whether or not the idea of hurting the author impacted what type of review they gave. And surprisingly, a lot of the people in her comments said, I actually went and got the book because of your really negative review. And well, whether or not their motives were pure in buying the book, it does go to show that even negative publicity is still publicity. I don't think, especially with something as subjective as writing, saying, I didn't like XYZ trope, this part really bothered me, some people are going to hear that and think, oh, I really love those tropes actually, or that doesn't sound like it's bothersome at all. Let me see what it's about. So after hearing from multiple people that is really weird, don't fall for it, Libra follows up, emailed PR company to let them know that this violates FTC guidelines by swaying biased reviews in order to avoid incurring costs from negative review, below 3.5, which would mean reader would have to pay out of pocket to ship the book back. She then follows up with the response she got. So here's what I said and then the response. I don't love the wording. Then my response was to unsubscribe. Yeah, girl, I don't blame you. So her original email to them, hello, PR company. I wanted to let you know that the obligation to rate higher to avoid incurring costs to send back the box with a low review is against FTC guidelines. The guidelines state for the reader to be honest and transparent. With the exception of shipping the book back if they do not like book, this can cause biased reviews. Here is a statement that violates FTC guidelines. So I'm assuming she just pasted back to them what they had said about the negative reviews. And the PR company responded, hi, Sienna. Thanks for bringing this to my attention. I appreciate the opportunity to learn from you and to help better support. I'm assuming that's the author name. PR company always asks, not required, that you would be willing to send back due to the large cost burden put on authors to send out these packages. All the authors I support are independent and self-funded. I understand that this rule applies to brands sending PR unsolicited or unasked for, but you were asked and have showed interest. Some companies send products and ask for content without notifying ahead of time. After searching into FTC guidelines, it appears this rule can stay intact with a formal contract. I will be doing more research over the weekend. I do not want to be breaking any rules, and you are the first individual to bring this up, so thank you. The threads chimes back in. LivbyDoll says, it feels like they're trying to loophole their way out of it. It still also reads super guilt-trippy. Also, maybe it's just me, but the way they are treating the authors feels kind of infantilizing, like they should be treated differently because they are indie. Which I get to an extent, but if someone doesn't like your book, they can rate it however they please once it's out in the world. I totally understand wanting the best shot for your book. It's like your baby. This provision, or whatever they want to call it, is detrimental in my opinion. It's like they're making sure they're handled with kids' gloves by deterring the lower ratings. Yeah, and I agree with this. There's been a lot of rhetoric going around recently surrounding indie authors and whether or not you can even leave negative reviews at all, even once it's published. We actually talked about this in my video about Spice with Minors. And, I think it is really damaging, not only because traditionally published authors and indie published authors are both doing the same things. They are not inherently different people. It's just that the traditionally published author, their editor, was hired by their publishing company. That publishing company, presumably, hopefully, did advertising and distribution for their book. The indie author has to do that other stuff on their own. But, presumably, the indie author also hired editors, also figured out how to publicize their book. I guess you could argue that the indie author does have more out-of-pocket expenses, but so many traditionally published authors are on social media saying, my book didn't receive any advertising from my publishing company. I had to go out and advertise, pay for ads, do all this footwork myself. Enchanted Tales with Daisy says, dang, my degree is in public relations and I worked promoting books when I first started in the career. I'm a software engineer now, though. This person sounds like they're brand new to the industry. They're going to get this author banned from Amazon. Glad you're saying something to the PR company. Ew, that they aren't taking it seriously. And, definitely people are removed from Amazon for manipulating reviews. Assuming people report them to Amazon, of course. Which would be a huge blow for an indie author because a lot of them, that is their main source of income from their writing. People often don't visit authors' websites. Amazon's easy. If you click on one book you're interested in, it's going to give you a whole long list of other books that are arguably pretty similar. Kindle Unlimited especially is a huge drive for indie authors. You basically would be ending somebody's career if you got them kicked off Amazon permanently. Secret Librarian says, I would love to know which PR company if you'd feel comfortable DMing the name just so I can avoid them. ARCs and PR boxes should not come with obligations. They should be considered gifts. Author Jade Hernandez says, what a crazy response. Sounds like they know they are wrong but are trying to justify it with loopholes. It's still wrong. And a PR company shouldn't be endorsing this either. I feel bad for the ARC readers who don't know this isn't okay, and for the author if they didn't know the PR company was doing this. Libra chimes in saying, I have thought about emailing the author, but I was unsure what to even say or how to start the email. Oh, this is giving thanks for saying something, but I'm going to keep doing it. Yeah, it does. So Julia's little library started her own thread, kind of bouncing off this, saying, friends, if a PR company ever tells you that you have to pay them back the shipping cost and return a PR package if you didn't like the book, leave it a negative review or DNF it, run. That's so illegal, it's not even funny. Shame on that PR company and any authors that work with them and know they're doing this. So after the emails were released, Julia chimes in again. So apparently this PR company is now pushing back, saying that it's okay as long as the reader sign a contract. That is false. Do not sign anything. This has gone so far past unethical. No one should work with this PR company. So you can see down here, Bookish Raquel, I really want to drop the name of the PR company. Upon ARC acceptance, they require all ARC readers to fill out a form, the contract. If not, they won't receive the ARC. Julia does say, I wouldn't blame you for doing it. I haven't worked directly with them, so that's why I haven't said the name. Bookish Raquel says, I worked with them a long time ago, and it's sad to see they're still doing the same silly things. I'm so glad I cut ties. Robert McAnthony shares a screenshot from the FTC website. What does the Consumer Review Fairness Act prohibit? In summary, the act makes it illegal for a company to use a contract provision that 1. Bars or restricts the ability of a person who is a party to that contract to review a company's products, services, or conduct. So saying you can't give lower than a 3.5 without 2 imposes a fee or penalty against someone who gives a review, paying to ship the box back. Robert says in his comment, hopefully the OP will name the company. These people are able to prey on authors and readers in part because they're not called out by name. If they do this, they may well engage in other illegal and unethical behavior. Libra does follow up and says, I reached out to the author and they didn't know this was happening, which raises even more red flags. Space on the bookcase. If the author doesn't know, I wonder if the company's pocketing the money for themselves as a kickback. That'd be one heck of a racket. Mysteries Book Snook. That's worse. I hope all their authors catch on to this because this kind of behavior can literally cost authors their Amazon accounts. Yeah, exactly. It could ruin their career. Crazy. And that does raise the question, like, I guess the PR company could be receiving the boxes back and then sending it to a different ARC reader, but, you know, in their emails, it's implied you're shipping it back internationally to this author in the UK. So hopefully that's what's really happening and they would be receiving their own product back, should anyone fall for this. But if it's going back to the PR company, that raises some red flags. So Julia has come back and has decided to share the PR company, right? I'm only doing this because I want to protect the authors who may not know and because this company allegedly has a history of similar behavior. It's Sunny Babe PR. And so a bunch of people start chiming in. Silver Hill Creative. I followed their link and a current ARC they have open for request makes you promise to read and review by a certain date. Someone claiming to be a PR company really should know the laws around their work. It's not legal to compel a review of any kind, even if it's not requiring a certain rating or return of materials. And Julia does say, I will say due dates aren't uncommon with PR companies. In my experience, many of them do track to see if you're reading and reviewing the books they send you. Which, that's totally fine. You know, the company having an internal list of people who haven't met expectations, I don't think that falls under a penalty or restricting the ability to review of that ARC reader. Influencers get removed from PR lists all the time, whether or not, you know, they make a negative review. The point is that anything received previously is not impacted. There are no legal or financial penalties for not reviewing. It is like a personal, there's only that personal impact of you won't be receiving more PR from us in the future, which, unless I've misunderstood something, is totally legal. I Dream of Reading says, I use Sunny Babe and have not liked a book on numerous occasions and have never been asked to pay anything or whatever this person's talking about. I'm genuinely confused. Books and Debauchery shine some light. Were those ebooks? This is about PR boxes with paperbacks specifically. and wanting readers to ship back the box and pay return shipping to do so if they rate it under a certain star range. I Dream of Reading responds, yeah, mine were all ebooks. I have a few authors I'm close to that work with the PR companies. I'm going to reach out because I think they've done boxes before with her, I guess, to see what else is going on. But that brings up a really good point. You know, the unfortunate reality is that we live in a capitalist society and money makes the world go round. If you cannot afford to send physical ARCs to people to get reviews, you do have alternatives. Unless I'm grossly misunderstanding the situation, sending out ebook ARCs is free. Does it seem like people prefer physical? Yeah, because it makes more interesting content to be able to have a book and flip around in it on camera. But this whole situation feels pretty gross. We can only hope that the PR company does stop trying to force people to pay to send things back. And hopefully ARC readers are aware of what is or is not required of them legally when receiving ARCs or PR material in the future. If you've ever received PR, did they have some strange expectations of you? That is all I have to say on this topic. I will see you next time.